I am officially done with Tom Thibodeau. And this is not a recap video because you guys want me to come on here and talk about the same shit over and over and over again. I'm not going to do that to you guys. It's the same crap every game. Tom Thibodeau thinks he knows what he's doing. He's clueless. He does not know what he's doing at all. He's literally going crazy. This dude is just insane. Like, he's a freaking psychopath. I think that's a perfect way to sum up Tom Thibodeau. Sometimes I wonder, like, he is a human, but sometimes I wonder, does he care about his own players? Does he care about his own players? Like, let's get into the game a little bit. We nearly allowed 90 points and a half of basketball. The defense was just absolutely atrocious. I know we always get destroyed by Denver. I feel like we always lose to them. The Nuggets are just a way better basketball team, just a way better basketball team, if I'm being real with you guys. But anyway, for him to play RJ Barrett at the end of this game, keep in mind, a back-to-back, played 50 minutes of basketball versus the Lakers, played 40 minutes, played a good majority tonight up against the Denver Nuggets, of course, off of a back-to-back. For him to play him down the stretch when this game is decided, and then RJ Barrett goes on to get hurt. He goes on to limp off the floor. I feel bad for most of the players on this basketball team. I really do. I wonder what's going through Derrick Rose's head, because when Derrick Rose had that big-time injury with the Chicago Bulls, when did it happen? When he shouldn't have been out there on the floor, and when the game was decided. But to Tom Thibodeau, the game is never decided. It's just unacceptable. It's just awful. I understand he wants them to fight and wants them to be competitive, but there's a thing called next man up mentality. There's a thing called being smart, and Tom Thibodeau is not being smart. He just thinks he knows what he's doing when he clearly doesn't. Kemba Walker's not working in the starting lineup, but then you could also counter that by saying he's kind of already lost the locker room when those reports came out that he's not treating everyone equally, or some people in the locker room don't think like all the players are being treated equally. Like, he held Kemba accountable, Obi accountable, like with his minutes clearly when Randall's not playing good basketball. RJ Barrett like kind of called him out in that press conference right after the game, post game. But Julius Randle continues to be babied. And you could say he did his thing tonight. But did we win? Did he do enough to win? Did this team do enough to win? Did we find a way to be successful? No, we did not. But anyway, we've seen more bad than good from Julius Randle, and he has not held him accountable. Tom Thibodeau's stuck in the past. He's stuck in the past of Julius Randle's one good year. And Randle thinks he's the shit after one good year of basketball as a main guy. He collected the contract. And he's had games that he's shown big time effort, and then there's been games that he does not care with his body language. So yes, it's unequal when it comes to holding guys accountable. That just can't happen. But yeah, let me get back into the Kemba situation. So if we started Kemba, benched him, came back, played good in the starting unit, and if we benched him again, then the locker room would just be completely done with Tibbs, and we'd be even more of a drama-filled organization. Because yes, Kemba's not been playing good, but I feel like he's a likable player in the locker room. So starting Kemba doesn't make sense, but he kind of has no choice at this point. Like, he dug himself in such a big hole. Fournier, he's been playing solid lately. He has that huge contract, no choice. But Thibodeau, he's going to be fired at some point. I'm not sure if it's going to be at the beginning of next season or the end of this season. Because Leon Rose, he pretty much has full control. Like, Dolan doesn't really have say anymore. He's not really involved with the team. He's kind of been hands-off, or he has been hands-off. You don't trade for Cam Reddish and don't play him at all. You don't draft someone 8th overall and barely play him. I understand Randall was great last year. There was an exception for that. But for Randall to have this low of a play this year of inefficiency, lack of effort, not being a great leader, just his basketball IQ is awful. And I'm not saying Obi Toppin is God or anything like that. But let's get into another reason. He doesn't know how to go within the flow of the game. He doesn't know how to make in-game adjustments at all. Like, let's give an example here. Like, Obi Toppin, let's say he's really bad, then there's a reason to take him out of the game. But I feel like he always goes with what's happening in the past. He doesn't go with what's going on in the moment of the game. Let's say Obi scores 10 straight points in 6 minutes, but he has written down on the sheet, let's put Randall in this moment. So then he takes Obi out when he's thriving and puts a Julius Randle back in, and all the momentum is gone after Obi Toppin is thriving. Like, he doesn't go within the flow of the game. Tom Thibodeau's awful when it comes to that. So there's going to be no proper development as long as Tom Thibodeau is here, in my opinion. So people could shit on Obi. People could say he's overrated. He's just an okay player. I'm not saying you're wrong at all, but we don't even know what Obi is. I'm not asking him to start. I'm not asking him to be the guy, or I'm not asking Tibbs to make him the guy, but just give him more consistent minutes. Someone's confidence obviously is going to go down when you're not giving them consistent minutes out there on the floor. This offense is so damn vanilla. He doesn't play guys throughout their strengths at all. When you watch Julius Randle play, if he's not thriving as a one-on-one scorer, you make someone else the primary ball handler. You have Randle move without the basketball, because I feel like Randle thrives when he doesn't constantly have the ball in his hands. You have to make the offense more simplified for a guy like Julius Randle. But anyway, there's like no cutting. There's no consistent ball movement. All Tom Thibodeau preaches is he apparently holds guys accountable, plays disciplined basketball, fundamentals. We haven't seen any of that. We haven't seen any level of consistency, like when it comes to games, at least on a consistent basis. Like, we're inconsistent, but not just game by game, but quarter by quarter. When it comes to ball movement, shooting shots from the outside, when we're taking way too many threes. Like, this team has no identity. We had an identity last year playing hard. No one's consistently playing hard when it comes to this ball club. There's no chemistry. No one's on the same page. No one's communicating. We have Randle, who was a great leader last year. He's not a leader anymore. He's not at all. You can't even call him a leader. You could say he's a leader, like lead by example in the gym, but out there on the basketball floor when he's constantly complaining to the refs, like, you got to hold this guy accountable. You really do. And the way he manages minutes are awful. But he's like, I'm not going to say completely lost the team. I feel like there still is a level of effort, but he's clueless. He doesn't know what he's doing. And as long as he's here, there's going to be no longevity. There's not going to be like developing guys, because for a franchise that can't attract guys through free agency or trade for a big star, you have to build throughout the draft. You have to develop guys. And Tom Thibodeau, he doesn't allow young guys to make mistakes. If you don't allow young guys to make mistakes, if you're afraid to play young guys, you're not going to develop, and you're not going to build a longevity winner. When you have a guy like Taj Gibson still on your basketball team. I respect Taj, but it's just unnecessary. It just is. But that's why one of the reasons the Knicks are in the position they are now. We can't develop talent. We can't draft. When you can't get guys through free agency, when you can't trade for a big-time star, you have to be like the Cavs. You have to be like the Grizzlies. You got to know how to draft. You got to know how to develop talent and actually play your young talent and get the most out of them and put them in the position to be successful. And this ball club does not do that. They just don't do that at all. Tom Thibodeau, again, I appreciated what he did last year, brought us to the playoffs for the first time in 8 years, but he's gone. He has to be gone. It's just bad. He runs players to the ground. I don't care what anyone says. Like, obviously, we were not good against the Hawks, but they were cooked. Their legs were cooked. There was no, like, Tom Thibodeau just has to go, and we can't have this mentality that we're just going to be bad because Thibodeau's been our best coach we've had for a while. Leon Rose can't have that mentality, because then we're just going to be stuck in mediocrity. We're just going to compete. We're just going to find ways to win games there and there. We'll be like first-round exits because our ceiling's going to be limited due to not having high upside players. Like, RJ still may be here, but there's going to be a failure to build a consistent winner around I'm not saying RJ is going to be the number one option, but there's going to be a struggle to build a consistent team around him, just using an example of RJ Barrett. When you can't draft, when you don't even play your draft picks, when you're not even playing your young guys, you're just going to have a bunch of old guys. You're going to have veterans that aren't the same around RJ. There's just always going to be a ceiling if you can't develop young guys or attract guys through free agency. Like it or not, it's a star-driven league, and the Knicks need more talent. And I don't know if these stars still like Thibodeau's mentality. I know Jimmy Butler respects him, but doesn't mean he wants to play for him. I tried to touch base on pretty much everything. Like, the defensive philosophy is not working. You could say we don't have the personnel, but we're just not consistently executing at anything. We're not even knocking down our free throws. It's just a complete mess. It is just a complete mess. But we got to build a consistent longevity winner. We do. Let me know down below your thoughts. Peace out, y'all.